adventurers. Alright, in today's video is the second part of being a game designer. Today I want to talk about being a publisher. The first and big point I wanna talk about is you don't have to be a designer to be a publisher. And this one might raise a couple of eyebrows, but the idea I have for this point actually came from Lewis Porter Jr. from LPJ Design. They're a third-party publisher for Pathfinder, and Lewis Porter actually has a series of videos called The Transparency Agenda. And in one of them, he actually said that he's not good at game design, he's not good at writing, but he's good at managing. So he has his own publishing company without being a designer himself. So I thought that was really good, and I wanted to bring that point that he made into this video as well. So you don't have to be a game designer to be a publisher. What I think you would need is know the system that you're publishing for, obviously. If you're publishing for, let's suppose, D&D 5th edition, make sure they bring you rules for D&D 5th edition and not for Pathfinder. If you're designing for Savage Worlds, make sure that what they bring you is stuff for Savage Worlds, not for Fate, the Fate system with fudge die. Excuse me. So that solves point number 1 and number 2. Number 3 is be organized. What do I mean with be organized? Make sure you know what it is you want and what you're doing. Having a schedule and having an agenda is very important if you want to be a publisher. Make sure you know where your art is, where your editors are, all the connections that you have. make sure you, because if you don't organize yourself, you're gonna probably end up delaying yourself when you're trying to publish something. So being organized is very important. The fourth point that I want to talk about, this also touches in things that me as a reviewer that I look to whenever I'm reviewing a product. Art. And I understand that not a lot of people have the funds to pay on artists, since artists tend to be very expensive. We're talking about 30 a piece, could be even higher, 50 a piece if it's colored. But there are ways to circumvent that. I always implore publishers to always have art. Somehow, just make sure you have art in your books. Now, here's the dealio. If you don't have an artist friend, we don't all. I have my wife. My wife does all the really cool drawings that I have in my products, but you know, not everybody has that. There are actually cheap stock art you can buy off Drive-Thru-RPG and other places, but if cheap stock art is still too steep for you, and I understand it would be for a couple of people, you can still get free stock art in a lot of places. You can actually get a couple of free stock art in Drive-Thru-RPG. In my Inside Dark Dungeons review of Sons of Arcadia, I actually use a lot of that art in that review for the voiceover parts, and it's art that you can actually use in for commercial purposes as well. So it's really cool as long as you follow the rules and you give credit where credit is due. Besides that, you can also, there's a couple of libraries that have old stock art for all other things. It could be pictures, it could be old paintings that they might be in the public domain, that all you would need to do is actually what would be the word, credit the original artist to use it. And you know, the point is that there are ways to circumvent the art issue, but always try to have art in any product you publish. Just always try to have art, because it's a bit tiresome to have text after paragraph, a lot of words, and you don't have art for your eyes to rest. I know that art, it's really cool. It's really fun to see art in game books, but I also think the art serves a purpose, and that is to let your eyes rest after reading that much. So make sure you do something with the art, because again, me as a reviewer, I always look into art a lot. Now, the next one, it's probably one of the most important points here, probably the most important: editing. Not everybody can afford an editor, and editors are very expensive, probably even more expensive than artists. I understand why. It's a lot of work to edit a product. So you're gonna probably have to edit yourself. If you don't edit a product, you might end up with a product where the formatting is off, where there's a lot of grammatical mistakes and a lot of syntax errors. So make sure you do something about the editing. Whether you edit it yourself, you give it to a friend, you ask your designers to edit their own stuff, but you as the publisher always give it a look over. And I know that's probably a time sink, but trust me, in the long run, you're gonna be better off for it, because your product is probably gonna benefit a lot more if you edit than if you don't. Your product's probably gonna suffer a lot if you don't edit. So make sure you edit, because sometimes when I'm reviewing a product, be it for Inside Dark Dungeons or for Analyze Dwemer, where I review smaller RPGs, usually third-party publishers, a lot of the times it shows whenever they don't edit, because there are glaring errors that, to me, it would have made sense. It would have just jumped at me if I would have just, as soon as I go to the page, it just jumps at me, the error, and it shows that they didn't edit, because there's no way that during editing you wouldn't have found those mistakes. I don't want to give any examples, because I don't want to throw anybody under the bus. If I have to give one, Sons of Arcadia, you can check my my Inside Dark Dungeons review of it if you're interested, and see what not to do. That book is a prime example of what not to do whenever you're gonna publish something and become a publisher, if you're gonna self-publish. Let's see. Have consistency. Yeah, have consistency. The reason consistency is important is because if you have one writing style in one book, and then you move over to another writing style in another book, and so on and so forth, you might end up confusing people. If I don't know, it's that thing of, and this one's gonna be a little bit more difficult. This is something I really like and enjoy of Wayward Rogues Publishing. They have dedicated artists, and all their art is very similar. It's very homogeneous, and it makes you feel you're reading from a particular publisher. Probably if you show me art from one designer and Wayward Rogues, I'm probably gonna be able to tell you which one is Wayward Rogues, because they're very iconic. I try to do the same with my ARMR Studios line of products. I try to keep it very homogeneous. Also, try when you have people writing for you, because I understand if you publish your own things, you're probably gonna always have the same style of writing. But if you have different designers writing for you, try to lead them to a particular style of writing. What a lot of designers do is they have a style guide that they give to their designers. And honestly, it's not a difficult thing to prepare. Just, even if it's just bullet points, just to give them an idea of how they have to write if you're gonna have designers working for you. And if you're gonna have artists working for you, you can always give them examples of things you have published with art, so they have an idea of what you want if you're gonna have artists. Now, if you're using stock art, I understand that this would be a lot more difficult. with the exception of if you're buying cheap stock art, always buy from the same people so you have similar similar styles. Um, if you don't, if you're using free stock art, that's understandable because it's gonna be damn near impossible to find similar stock art, similar free stock art for various different projects. So I guess that one gets a little bit more of a pass. But as you're developing as a game designer, uh, once you start getting a steady income with your designs, you start considering getting a particular style going on. Let's see. Know the market. This one is a very important point because knowing the market means knowing what to charge for the designs that you have. If if you wrote if you wrote a class yourself, and if you're gonna self-publish, and all you use was stock art, don't charge $5 for that. Um, Unless you're gonna tell me it's like a 30-page booklet, which understandable. But if you're publishing, and I'm mentioning this because it's actually something I saw. Again, I'm not gonna mention any names because I don't want to throw anybody under the bus. But if you make like an 8-page supplement, and those 8 pages include the cover and the open gaming license, that's usually 2 pages long. So you have like 5 pages of content with minimal free stock art. Charging $5 for your product doesn't seem that fair or proper. So try to avoid things like that. Understand the market that you're working in. For example, the Naughty Works, they have the Player's Paraphernalia. It's a series that they're usually short PDFs, very light on the art, but they're very cheap, and even though they're cheap, the content is very rich and really good. So I think they charge properly for what they're making. Eventually, once you get artists to work for you, then you can up the price a little bit, because paying those artists, it's a little bit painful to the wallet, to be honest. So you want to make a bit of that money back. A very big disparity I can show you as an example, again going back to the review of Sons of Arcadia, something I didn't mention there, is that the physical book is $30. Now the PDF is $30 as well. I think now it's in discount in Drive-thru RPG for $20, but it's still $20 for a PDF for a game that barely has any art. The formatting is abysmal. The production value is on the floor. And if you compare it to a game like Pathfinder, I understand that Paizo, they're a big company, but in this market, you're probably always gonna be compared to something. Pathfinder, the PDF, I believe it's $20. I think the last time I saw the PDF, it was $20. That's $20 for a 500-page book with a lot of really good art. The physical version is $60, but it's hardcover and it's completely colored up, so that one's very understandable. The next one, number 8, is know your audience. What I mean is know what they want. Maybe you release something that most people hated, most people disliked. Maybe you release a supplement for X or Y game and not a lot of people liked it. And most people just told you straight out, this wasn't very good. Try not to release something similar next time. Try to mix it up. Try to see, if you are serious in making money from this, make sure that you know what people want and work around that. Try to see what's popular and things like that. Maybe you don't want to fall into what's popular and you're like, I want to make what I want to make, and that's fine. But if you're going to go with that mentality, understand that you're probably not going to be selling that much. That goes a little bit also to the previous point, know your market. This is not a multi-million-dollar hobby. Maybe with miniatures and all the things like that, sure, but tabletop RPGs is a niche market. And you must understand that you're not gonna be making a six-figure salary selling tabletop RPGs. Probably not even a five-figure salary. Unless you strike it big and you become extremely lucky, which is possible. But a six-figure salary, I highly doubt it. So again, do this. If you're gonna start off doing this because you love it, not because you want to make money off of it. Because you're not gonna see that much games. Let's see. Next point is know the system that you're publishing for. A lot of people start off doing third-party publishing, which is good. But if you're gonna be doing third-party publishing, know the system that you're designing for. So whenever you're editing, if you're helping out your editor, if you don't have an editor, you're editing yourself, that the rules you're reading, they go in accordance with the rules from the core book of whatever game you're publishing for. It's very important that you become even more knowledgeable of the system than your own designers, because you're gonna be polishing them at the end of the day. Let's see. Next is I have here engage your audience. I think this one's very important because I've seen actually a lot of third-party publishers releasing early on whatever they're designing to get people to playtest. That's a great way to spread the word of your product, and to engage your audience. Maybe, heck, make a poll. We're gonna make a monster book. We're gonna make 5 monsters in the next PDF. What do you want to see? Undersea creatures, Chutuloi monsters, monsters from the mountain. Chutuloi monsters are always gonna win, but that's neither here or there. Everybody loves Chutulu. But play around with your audience. Engage them. Make a poll. Make contests if you can. I remember some of the biggest growth I had in this web channel was when I did a couple of collaborative giveaways with Wayward Rogues Publishing, where if people wrote in the comments section what they like about the product that I review, I would give them out. I would pick out a couple of people and give them out a free PDF of the product, and that was really fun. You keep people engaged. Something that I like that Wayward Rogues does is they have self-made ads, because they don't put up ads in Facebook, but they share a picture of the next product. Oh, our next product's gonna be about this, and this. Here's a picture, and that gets people to talk, and that gets people excited of the next upcoming product. So it's very important for you to engage your audience if you wanna make it in game publishing. Going back to another example, Lewis Porter. I don't think he's doing the transparency agendas anymore, because I think he's been very busy with other stuff. But he does post a lot, and he tries to get people readied up, and tries to group up people to prepare them for products. He was planning like a Pathfinder Society game using his own setting, which I think is really cool. You get people engaged, you get people talking about your products, and you're gonna boom probably. Let's see. Another point number 11. It's where are you gonna publish? This one's a very important one. There are a myriad of places where you can publish. You can self-publish. You can set up a web page if you want, where you can sell your own PDFs. But if you don't have that type of money to set up your own web domain and your own PayPal account and things like that, you can always publish on DriveThruRPG. If you are doing Pathfinder stuff specifically, you have more options, because then you have the Open Gaming Store, you have the own Paizo website. But if you're just doing like other tabletop role-playing games, even if you're publishing your own, you can go to DriveThruRPG, and they have the works there. You can set up, send people free copies. You can set up royalties if you want. You can set up a date for them to be published. You can set up your own prices. Of course, they're gonna take a percentage of whatever you make. But if you're exclusive, something I like about DriveThruRPG is that if you're exclusive with them, the cut they take is less than if you're spreading your products in different stores. Let's see what else. Uh, so I wanted to talk a little bit more of drive-through RPG, but right now I forget. Yeah, you can set up discounts and things like that. Usually during summer they have Christmas in July, and you can set up what products you want to have a special in Christmas and July. It's really fun. Sometimes they actually have collaboration events where I remember one last year. It was if you have a product that has to do anything with the Cthulhu mythos, give us a product and we'll put it in a bundle, and part of that bundle is gonna be set off to help people out. I think that was really cool. And the last point that also goes to a couple of other points that I've talked about before is expose yourself. That one's very important. If you just make products and if you just leave them, if you have like a page in Drive-Thru RPG and you just put your products there and just leave them there, you're probably not gonna make that much of an impact in the market. You gotta go into the media. You gotta go into social media to uh, expose yourself. Let people know, hey, I have this product. I would really like it if you people check it out. Maybe send a couple of review copies to some reviewers. I'm always suffer reviewing small publisher products, and just get the word out. It's very important to get the word out. If you don't get the word out, nobody's gonna buy your stuff. Nobody's gonna try out and test whatever it is you wanna you have published. Nobody's gonna see it. So you gotta get the word out. You can't expect to just leave things there and hopefully one day Monte Cook is gonna see what you did and he's gonna download it. He's like, oh my god, this is awesome, everybody should check it out. That's not gonna say that's not gonna happen, but it's just very highly unlikely that that would happen, you know? So spread the word. Spread the word. Maybe once you make a little bit of money, you can set up a Facebook ads to spread the word a little bit more. If you're up to it, you can make YouTube videos spreading the word of your product. I've actually seen a couple of people do that. I used to do that back in the day when I used to publish. About a year ago, I used to publish, and I'm not publishing anymore. I want to get back into publishing, but right now balancing a lot of things, and I want to concentrate on the YouTube channel for now. But it's very important to spread the word, and yeah, I think that that's it for being a publisher. When it comes to what me as a reviewer, what I look at usually is the editing. And when I say editing, it includes the formatting, the grammar and the syntax. Those two things for me are very important. Also, I always look at the art, and honestly, I also look at prices, because if you give me something that is extremely well made and you put it cheap, I might say you're underselling yourself, but I would probably tell everybody to get it, because the product is that good and it's that cheap. Then that's also an incentive. But if you make something that is not up to par and you're charging a lot of money for it, I'm probably gonna advise everybody to stay away from it. Believe it or not, reviewers, we have a big say in what gets pushed and what doesn't, because a lot of people like to look for reviews before they, obviously that's what reviews are for, aren't they? They look to reviews before they buy a product. So I hope this helps out anybody that wants to have an idea of what a reviewer tends to look into whenever they're reviewing a book. And if anybody had any questions about what it is to get into the tabletop role playing, the design market, have an idea of what to do and what to expect. Expect backlash. Expect 1-star reviews on your products without a written review. I know those are the ones I hate the most, because I would rather no, I know that's a lie. I would rather have a 5-star review without anything written than a 1-star review with something written. I'm gonna be honest. But if you're gonna leave a 1-star review, give a reason. Give an actual reason, not just this sucks. Give an actual, honest to goodness reasons why that is a 1-star. And I've seen it so much with all the other designers that I know and all the other publishers that I know that they get so annoyed whenever somebody leaves a 1-star review on their product and nobody left anything. You know, it's just so annoying and so disheartening because at the end of the day, to me, that's just a troll. But prepare for that because it is going to happen. You're going to have people that are not going to like you probably personally, and they're just going to give a 1-star to your product. But them's the rigs, them's the market. That's just the society that we live in, guys. I hope this helps out a lot of people. Let me know in the comment section below anything else you would like to know about game designing or game publishing. And I'll catch you guys next time. Remember, rule number 1, always have fun.